The apple doesn't fall far. This book is dedicated to my father, James Vince Pierce, who passed away November 13th in 2023. His influence has been the greatest force in shaping me into the father, husband, friend, and leader I am today. Introduction. Research conducted by the National Center for Fathering, NCF, showed that when fathers are actively involved in raising their children, they have a positive impact on their success and well-being in many areas, such as academic performance, developing healthy self-esteem, avoiding risky behavior, and having better social skills. Additionally, research by the same group showed that when fathers are involved in raising their children, 62% of kids get better grades in school and are more likely to attend college. This single statistic shows that as fathers, your impact on your children's educational growth is monumental. Your active engagement isn't just about providing support. It's about creating a nurturing space where intellectual curiosity thrives and emotional security is a given. By being involved, you're not just helping that homework or showing up at school events. You are demonstrating that education matters. Your participation sends a powerful message of responsibility and motivation, encouraging your child to value their education and striving to achieve more. In developing healthy self-esteem, the NCF research discovered that children with engaged fathers often exhibit enhanced self-confidence, superior relationships with peers and adults, positive classroom behavior, and better social emotional development. Active participation by a father is a crucial component in a child's quest to develop self-esteem. Fathers' steady support, engagement, and guidance engender a secure environment and self-belief in children. Children feel appreciated and respected when a father shows sincere interest in their activities, partakes in their happiness, and validates their efforts, which positively molds their self-perception and bolsters their self-esteem. Furthermore, a father who demonstrates confidence, resilience, and perseverance sets an example for the child, teaching them that these are qualities to be valued and imitated, thus arming them with the necessary tools to cultivate their self-esteem. Equally important, research also showed that boys and girls with involved fathers are less likely to engage in risky or problematic behavior. For example, a U.S. Department of Education study found that boys with involved fathers were 80% less likely to spend time in jail than boys without involved fathers. Likewise, girls with engaged fathers tend to have a lower rate of teen pregnancy than those who did not have an active father in the home. When actively involved, fathers set a positive example, provide guidance, and become a reference point for appropriate behavior. This significantly reduces the likelihood of their children engaging in risky behavior. As the saying goes, children do what they see, not what they're told. When a father is present, attentive, and setting a positive example, children naturally emulate their behavior, leading to a better decision-making skill and tendency to avoid risky and dangerous situations. Finally, the study showed that fathers involved in their children's lives can help them develop better social skills. These skills include increased empathy, better communication skills, and a better ability to resolve conflicts positively. A present and engaged father is a model for their children to replicate social interactions, refine their communication skills, and enhance their ability to empathize with others. This attribute, primes children to better understand, connect with, and respond to the emotions and perspectives of others. Furthermore, children's interaction with their fathers often involves negotiation and compromise, which are vital for positively resolving conflicts. This ability to navigate conflicts and find a middle ground can be a significant advantage in their later life, promoting healthier relationships and better workplace dynamics. As a father, you have an enormous responsibility to be engaged and actively involved in your children's lives. It may seem daunting, but it's not as complicated as you think. My character, leadership capabilities, and self-confidence were based on a strong foundation instilled in me while with my father. He intentionally shared wisdom and guidance and was a visual role model. If you engage early in your child's development and are purposeful, the lessons they learn will stick. They will use them just as I have in my civic, professional, and personal life. I hope this book serves as an example of how influential you can be as a father, and I hope it will deepen your sense of how much your involvement matters. If you're not convinced of how significant your influence is, here's a poem I wrote for my father after graduating from college. I framed it and gave it to him as a Father's Day gift back in 1991. You may not remember, but I do. I remember when I fell asleep on the floor and you picked me up and carried me into my room. I remember the week I was in the hospital after my bronchitis attack. You spent the night in the chair by my side. I remember you having to teach night school and how much I missed you being home for dinner. I remember you being ordained as a deacon and asking if I had to call you Deacon Daddy. I remember our first 4-H project and how I was so sure we would win, I started spending the prize money before the competition. It turned out I was right. I remember you testing light sockets with your finger, and I would be sure I was touching you because if you were electrocuted, I wanted to be too. I remember my first job being paid $2 an hour to pass you tools. My first raise was to $15 for each ceiling fan I installed on my own. I haven't received a raise yet that made me feel as good as that one did. I remember you taking me to every Saturday morning's Pee Wee football game, even though I wasn't very good. I remember those early morning fishing trips and you not leaving until I caught something. I also remember returning the favor. I remember you taking me to my first Carver High football game. Seeing the band is why I decided I wanted to play the saxophone. I remember taking you to your first professional baseball game. You sat on the edge of your seat the whole time. Most of all, I remember every day how proud I am to be your son. So in case you can't remember everything we did together, you can read this and say, I do good work. Just look at my son. As a young boy, I didn't appreciate how active my father was in my life. My father taught industrial electricity at a local technical college, and on the weekends, he ran his own company, JVP Electric Company. As far back as I can remember, I worked with my father every Saturday. When I started, I only held the tools and would pass him whatever he needed. He would just reach out and say, flashlight, lineman pliers, flat screwdriver, medium wire nut, whatever the job required. I thought the best part was that he paid me by the hour. When I was 7, I was paid $2 an hour, and by the time I graduated from high school, I was making $15 an hour. We would easily put in 10 to 15 hours on a Saturday. Now that I'm much older with my own family, I realize the money was nowhere near the best part of that deal. The best part was the time. Spending 10 to 15 hours of one-on-one time with my father was a gift only he could give. This time was special on many fronts. But maybe most importantly, I saw how an African American man navigated the world. I saw him deal with everyone with the utmost respect. He dealt with challenging situations with the demeanor required. I saw how the community respected a man who worked hard and always tried to do the right thing. I am, without a doubt, who I am today, mainly because of my experiences with my father. Years later, after graduating from Tuskegee University and starting my career, I recall the many lessons I learned from him. When I began leading people, I often found myself recanting those lessons. I've led project teams, technical teams, and large global teams. I've been on corporate and nonprofit boards, and I've served on the city council. Through those experiences, I often preface my feedback with, "My father would often say." A colleague of mine once told me, though they had never met my father, they felt like they knew him through all the stories I told. Before we jump in, a little bit more about me. I'm from the historic city of Montgomery, Alabama. Montgomery is well known because of its history during the height of the Civil Rights Movement. My parents spent their early formative years growing up in Snow Hill, Alabama, during the 1940s. The town got its name from the many cotton plantations in which my parents grew up working. You don't have to be a history buff to imagine how challenging it was living in the Deep South during that time. But it is true that where there are challenges, there is opportunity. I do not doubt that this existence created a rich environment of experiences that could either build character or be allowed to destroy it. While we are certainly products of our environment, I am blessed that my father allowed these experiences to shape and build his character rather than be a detriment. I hope you enjoyed the following few chapters as much as I enjoyed writing and reflecting on my experiences. Chapter 4. You only have fear when you don't understand. Ralph Waldo Emerson, a famous poet and thinker, expressed many ideas that can help us sort out the tricky things in life. He is credited with saying, "Knowledge is the antidote to fear." This means that the more we learn and understand about the world, the less scary things seem. Emerson believed everyone has a special kind of wisdom inside them, a kind of guiding light that can help them see the truth. According to him, if we trust our own minds and seek to learn more, we can beat our fears and doubts. Emerson's wise words tell us to keep learning and growing because that's the way to conquer fear. My dad had a very similar approach. He always told me that fear is generated when we don't understand something. He believed that if you can better understand, be it an event, a situation, or even the perspective of a person, the fear associated with it will dissipate. To him, knowledge was power, and he encouraged me to take the time to learn about things I didn't understand to become more confident and less fearful. This idea has continued to be compelling as I've faced new challenges. By taking the time to understand what's happening around me, I can approach situations with courage rather than trepidation. I still use this approach today, but there is no way I would have taught it the way my dad did. I mentioned that when I was 7 or 8, I could only pass my dad his tools as he worked. As electricians, we would often be asked to troubleshoot a light that wasn't working. Sometimes my dad would take the bulbs out, turn the switch on, and stick a finger in the socket. I knew the dangers of being electrocuted, so I would hold on to my dad's leg whenever he would do this. In my young mind, if he died, I wanted to go too. One particular day, he had me touch 2 hot wires, meaning electricity flowed through them. I was afraid, but did it after my dad reassured me I'd be okay. I felt a quick buzz, but that was it. I did it again with the same result. It didn't hurt at all. The first time it surprised me, but I knew what to expect the second and the third times. My dad explained why I wasn't electrocuted. As long as I did it the way he taught me, electrocution was impossible. I'll save the electricity lesson for a different book. The lesson for this one was my dad telling me, you only fear what you don't understand. Without a doubt, I can tell you my dad was one of the most influential people in my life. His wisdom and guidance were invaluable to me and continue to shape who I am today. His stories, lessons, and values taught me what it means to be a good person, both inside and out. He instilled an understanding of the world and a passion for making it a better place with our words and actions. These are lessons that I will carry with me always. Reflecting on all the accolades, tributes, honors, and compliments I've received over the years, the greatest of all was that comment from a supervisor earlier in my career. After meeting and spending time with my father, he said to me, "I see. It really is true. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree." The Apple Doesn't Fall Far was written and narrated by James Pierce for Discover the Voice Publishing. The Apple Doesn't Fall Far is also available on Amazon through Kindle Direct Publishing in ebook and print formats.